the time and space to give yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense. I'm Sweet Baby James, and I'm here to introduce you to Granny Rocks and to today's ongoing theme, You Ask the Questions, Granny Provides the Answers. So first, introduce Granny once again. Another name for her is Beth Green, and she's an intuitively guided counselor having 38 years of experience. She's been a longtime social activist and is the author of 6 books about human behavior. She has unusual insights into our issues, personal and social, as well as a special warmth, which helps us to look more honestly at ourselves. Plus, whatever the question, Granny uses music and humor to deliver a message that has universal applicability and addresses the heart of the matter. So even if you haven't submitted a question for this given show, you may very well discover Granny's comments to other viewers answer questions you don't even know you have. Be aware that Granny answers all questions in the order she receives them. So please get in your question as soon as possible. And so now, here's Granny.
Let's all just take a deep breath. I sure need one.
Yeah, I could use one.
Why is it that every time we go to do the show, something crazy happens, right?
Oh, really?
Like today, Sweet Baby James, he prints out the questions, right? The printer wouldn't work, and then it had to do with the network, and then the internet didn't work, and then I got the internet working, and the printer still didn't work, and blah, 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 blah. Finally, we got up here, and we're ad-libbing, we're making do as usual. There's always something.
Yes.
So anyway,
one thing, it's another.
It's
always something.
As I say, if it's not one thing, it's 10. So anyway, welcome to Granny's Place. First of all, I'd like to make sure that you are sending me in your questions. If you want to know how to send in a question, you go to the post where you found this video, and like in the first line, it says submit your questions, and you click on something and it takes you to some software program and you write in your question. You can do it anonymously. You can give me your name. So get your questions in, since I do answer them in the order in which I receive them.
Okay,
so,
here we go. Ready for the first question?
I never know. By the way, I said I would answer the question, but I didn't say that I'd answer the question in a way that you would like. So beware.
So often the
buyer
unexpected.
Beware.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware. You get what you pay for. What can I say? Okay.
Right. Always an unexpected perspective.
Always.
From Granny, the uncommon sense.
An often undesired perspective.
Okay, here's the first question. I'm a recovering Catholic.
Oh.
I'm a recovering Catholic. How do I let go of the judgments I have about family members who pick and choose what they follow concerning church rules, but attempt to thrust all the church rules upon me?
Well, I assume they're only thrusting upon you the church rules that they're following, that they don't thrust upon you the church rules that they're ignoring.
No, she said all the church rules.
Well, see, now is that really true, or are they only thrusting upon you the church rules that they are at least looking like they're following, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's pretty funny. I think the issue here is really about judgment in general. This is, you're living in a judgmental world, evidently. They're judging you, you are judging them. And so, to begin with, we need to observe that is a judgmental universe that you're living in, girl, guy, whoever you are.
Yeah. And so why is this person susceptible to judgments?
Well, Probably because they grew up in I mean, this is all, are they all family members? Did he or she
family and friends?
Family and friends. Well, friends you can get rid of, right? Well, family you can get rid of too. But what I'm saying is, if people are judgmental and these are your friends and you're uncomfortable with them.
I apologize. She just said family.
Family, okay. I didn't think so. I thought, friends. Friends don't do that to you. Okay, so it's family. Okay.
They just judge quietly.
So you grew up with these people, and if they are judgmental, or if they feel judged, if they feel bad about themselves because they grew up in a judgmental universe, which is very much part of the Catholic religion, is a lot of judgment. A lot of religions are like this, not just Catholicism. So they're judgmental. The church judges you and then forgives you, but it comes with a whole bunch of judgment and shame and self-hatred and cruelty to yourself and to everybody else. So you grow up with that, and then you live in a judgmental world. I mean, it's not just the church.
Right.
So what happens is, of course, you just get into a habit. The habit is judging, and it's a defense. Judgment is a defense.
Judge first before you're judged.
Well, it's really judge after because you're already being judged. I mean, it's not like it's all, or I would say judge simultaneously.
No, you did it too.
There's a lot of truth to that. What we see is that, you go in, you're feeling judgmental, they're going in, they're feeling judgmental, you're judging them, they're judging you. And it's like a defense mechanism against feeling bad. Because when we feel judged, oh my God, we feel so ashamed. When we feel ashamed, we just want to die, right? Now, I wrote a book called Living with Reality. It is sitting over there, but it's not only sitting over there. It is on the internet at theinnerrevolution.org, our community. Okay. And that book, the first introduction, or the I think it's the introduction. Anyway, it talks about ego, instinct, and evolution.
Yes.
And in it, I really talk about how difficult it is. You're an infant, you're not going to be able to survive on your own, so people have to want to take care of you, right? So if somebody makes you feel like you're inherently bad, that might make you feel like no one's going to take care of you. And so guess what? Shame makes you feel like you're going to die because you're afraid that you're going to be thrown out of the tribe. Okay, your tribe is Catholic, so they're going to throw you out. And so then the next time there's a tsunami hits your apartment in Beverly Hills, you're in trouble because where's the family or where's the friends? But all joking aside, we grow up in these little tribes called families, and if we are not taken care of there, who's going to take care of us? Because we do not live in a universe that take care of us. We have to rely on friends, family, charity, and so on. So coming back to that issue, and I really wish you would read that introduction.
It's only 36 pages of introduction.
Right, forget the rest of the book. Don't forget the rest of the book. But if you have to, read that section on ego, instinct, and evolution, because it really helps explain the ego, and it helps us to understand why shame is such a horrible feeling, right? So when you grow up in a culture that is very shaming, it very easily triggers your survival fears. It's like, oh my God, God is going to put me in hell. I'm going to be thrown out of the tribe. I'm not going to get, Santa isn't going to bring me a gift, isn't it? Don't we even have a song? Da 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 da.
You better watch out.
You better watch out. You better not cry. Santa Claus is coming to town.
And he knows what you've been
doing. He
doing.
knows what you've been doing. I mean, look at that! Right. Da 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 da. So anyway.
You better be good.
So you better be good. See? Because if you're not good. Now, if you're going to be bad in this culture, you got to be really bad. So everybody's afraid of you. So you don't have to be afraid of them. See, so that's it. You either oppress other people or you're in danger of being, wiped out. Splat! So now going back to the judgment. So if you grow up and there's a lot of judgment, and that brings up shame, which is the fear that you're not going to be okay, you're not going to survive, or you're even just going to be socially ostracized. So you carry that fear of judgment everywhere that you go. And so they're judging you, and you feel it. And so you defend yourself by saying, well, I don't have to listen to them because they're no good. They're not doing it either. They're also going to go to hell, or nobody is going to hell. That's all silly. Or they're. So, in my estimation, you see, I've said this many ways on many days, and I will continue to say it in many ways on many days as long as I'm still alive talking, which is that if you don't change everything, you can't change anything, right? So if we were in a society where we didn't feel so scared, we didn't go into shame, where we weren't brought up by judgmental people, we wouldn't be judgmental to start with. You wouldn't be afraid of other people's judgments. You kind of just would relax. Now, have you ever noticed, whoever you are, that when you're with people who are not judgmental, you tend to be better? So that just shows you that judgment is a defense. So once you understand that, the best thing to do is to work for a society where people aren't judgmental and where people are more supportive. So that would be my recommendation. Get on the stick and try to make a better society. In the meantime, look at everybody in your family who you think is judging you, and instead of judging them, ask yourself, is there an alternative? And there is. It's called compassion. What you could do is you could look at each person who you think is judging you, and maybe they don't even have time to judge you because they're too busy judging themselves or something else. You may even just only think that they're judging you, and that's enough. But look at each one of those people and say, I wonder what they're judging themselves about, what kind of pain they're in, and suddenly you have compassion for them. And that's how you deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And just parenthetically, since you're a recovering Catholic, you may not believe that you're going to go to hell or they're going to go to hell or anything like that, but what's just been said here is from the earliest infancy, you feel like your survival depends on having your needs met, and if you're judged negatively, you
be thrown out of the tribe.
And you're out of the tribe.
Right.
Yeah, you won't make it.
Right.
So there we are.
Okay.
Okay then. On to question number 2.
Which has just disappeared from the screen.
Just disappeared from the screen.
Because, as we told you, the printer wasn't working. So we got the laptop on, and now there it is. Ah, miracle! A miracle!
Yes, magic. This is from Anonymous. I moved to another state and let my kids live with their dad so that I could pursue a relationship that promised to be loving and supportive. Once I moved to the new state, the other person withdrew immediately. I was shocked and hurt. I know that I need to be looking at why else I was drawn to move away, and what am I supposed to be doing now? But I keep getting drawn back into being angry and hurt at the other person. He doesn't take any accountability for my decision to move and then withdrawing. Should I just ignore him now and move on with my own life?
Do you have a choice? Unless this person has transformed dramatically since the time that you sent in that question, which wasn't that long ago, you don't have much choice. You said husband and children, so I'm assuming that you are a woman. Well, I have been fooled many times, but I'm not so much fooled by the other person as I'm fooled by myself, right? It's like I want to believe that they are who they're pretending to be, or that I'm pretending that they are, and usually, and this is the worst part of it, I have a sneaking suspicion underneath it all that this is not quite the way it looks, but I don't want to know that, because I want to escape from something that is untenable. Now, you are doing fantastically, girl, that you are asking yourself the questions is, why did you do that, right? Now, could you go over that part of the question again? Why was I drawn
Why
away?
did I do it, and why am I stuck in feeling hurt and angry?
Could you go back and ask the question again about I'm trying to explore why I was drawn away to do this, why I was drawn to do this? On the hunt for the question.
Well, it was she just says, simply so I could pursue a relationship that promised to be loving and supportive.
She goes on to say that she's looking at this question.
I know that I need to be looking at why else I was drawn to move away.
Exactly.
Why else was I drawn to move away?
So that is, I compliment you. That is exactly the question you should be looking at.
There you go.
Was it that there was something out there, though there was something at home that you were trying to avoid? Now, maybe it was an abusive person. Maybe it was just a bad match. Maybe it's shame that you have. Maybe it's your own addiction. Who knows what it was? I don't know what it was. But because I don't know enough about you. Maybe you just didn't want to have children to start with, and you felt like you had to, and then you had all these responsibilities. Or maybe you thought you wanted them until you found out what it was like. Or who knows? But it's fabulous that you are looking within and saying, why did I go? And why did I want to believe this was true? So I feel this, this is a very upsetting thing that you've gone through. I'm not saying it isn't. And I have been fooled myself in relationships where I wanted to believe somebody, and they even told me things that I should have known better, right? But I wanted to believe, right?
Yeah.
So I have compassion for you. You should have compassion for yourself. But if you take a look at that question, because I noticed that you didn't say, I want to go back to my husband and children.
Right.
So I think that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a clue.
That is a clue. You don't want to go back to your husband, why? You don't want to go back to your children, why? And can you make peace with those decisions? Were they the right decisions for you? And, we believe in doing what is for the highest good, not what is considered to be the socially acceptable thing. So if, for example, you were having trouble handling having kids, handling it on an emotional level or on a physical level, maybe they are better off, but you can still, if you don't feel ashamed, you can stay in touch, you can be a parent, you can be on Skype, you can get involved with your children. You're going to have to deal with their upset about you leaving and all that. Or maybe you should go back to them. I'm not saying you should. But once you understand what was going on, you have to be able to come to peace with either correcting that decision or accepting that decision. And when you accept that, then you begin to look at this as just the next step of your life. You move to another state. Is there something for you there that you didn't have where you were? Is there something that drew you there rather than pushed you out from where you were? Are you in a more, you're really gay, and you were living in a place that was very repressive to gays, and you had to hide it where you were, and now you can come out. You understand what I'm saying? There could be something about where you are now or where you could go now that is actually more nurturing for you. So this becomes an invitation to you for you to actually look at your own needs, ask yourself, what has been the basis of the decisions that I've made before? Why have I decided to do the things that I did? Were they the right reasons? Were they healthy, or was I just conforming? Was I trying to please my mother? Was I scared to live my own life? All those kind of things, right? We get to ask all those questions. Yeah. And now that I've taken a break from that, where am I? What do I need? And what is for the highest good of all, which would include your husband, your kids, and so on. And the highest good doesn't necessarily mean doing what is conventional. It may be better for you to be where you are, but you then do it with a sense of love and a clear mind and a clear conscience. When you are absolutely clear that this is really, if you're staying in a relationship that's terrible, it isn't good for the children either, right? So it may be for the highest good of your kids for you not to be there, or maybe it isn't. So the highest good doesn't mean what is convenient or what is considered acceptable by everybody. It's like you go into a higher state of consciousness and you look at things from a higher perspective. And what is for the highest good of my children? Is it better for them not to be living with a lot of dissonance between the parents? Are they happy with my husband? Do they need to be with me?
Is there an option to just live nearby and have shared custody?
Exactly.
And that sort of thing?
Exactly. So what is for the highest good of everybody? Your husband's highest good, your highest good, the children's highest good. And what is that highest good? It's that thing that will really nurture their souls.
Yeah.
Not necessarily please them on the superficial level, but will really help them to grow. And what can you do to help your kids to develop the self-love that they're going to need because their mother left? You see, they're going to need your support. If you don't have that self-love, and it's hard for you to teach it to them, every child whose mother leaves has some feeling deep inside them that there was something wrong with them. Yeah. So even if it is better for you to stay where you are or to go somewhere else, as you develop insight and the willingness to look at yourself, you can go to your kids and give them the support they need to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And to develop their self-love in the midst of all of this. So going on with your life is not like, okay, that's it. It means introspection, self-realization, understanding, cleaning up whatever mess you've made unconsciously, making a conscious decision about what's for the highest good, and having the courage to go forward and do it. Because you're absolutely right. If you just sit there angry and railing at this guy, you're getting nothing done. You aren't healing yourself, you aren't healing your kids, and you're not helping your husband. So good luck with that. Tough one.
Okay, very good. Wonderful. Next we have from another anonymous. I listened to your answer, this was last week, about dealing with the food addiction and just living from the inside instead of trying to reconcile inner identity with outer beauty. However, I don't think you understand what it is like to be fat every day, or to have an addiction that you can't just quit or get services for because people don't understand that it's not just a laziness or a gluttony. And because there are so few truly support resources for food addiction compared to other addictions.
Well, first of all, I want to say, good for you that you wrote back and indicated that you were not happy with my answer. I applaud you for that. That's a very good thing. It takes courage, although you are anonymous and I'm not. But still, so I like that you said that. But now I really want to take a look at what you said. Yes, you are right. I do not know what it's like to be fat every day. But you might not know what it's like to gamble away your family's fortunes and put them in the homeless shelter. And you may not know what it's like to be an alcoholic and drink yourself under the bridge and get cirrhosis of the liver, or have a DUI while you've killed somebody, that you have to live with that guilt every day. I mean, there are so many things that I don't experience directly, but I do understand what shame is and embarrassment, and I do understand what addiction is because I have overeaten food And more than that, I've been an alcoholic, a practicing alcoholic.
And cigarettes.
Oh, and I've smoked cigarettes, and I had to quit both of them, and I've got, 38 years of sobriety now, but it weren't easy.
And you quit them both simultaneously.
I did. And the thing is, so I don't understand. I've spent years in my house, years in bed, not being able to do anything. When I meet a guy, how would I ever meet a guy, right? I'm never out. So I would, use the internet dating services. And on the first, Sweet Baby James will tell you, on the very first phone call, I had to tell him, I'm in bed most of the time. I'm sick all the time. I can't cook. I can't clean. I can't do dishes. And I saved till our first date that I couldn't have sex. There's not, and my disabilities are pretty darn visible as well. So yes, and it's horrible. Fat shaming is a hideous thing that goes on in our society. And I'm not shaming you for being fat. I didn't say anything about that. What I said to you is, if you have an eating addiction, you have to deal with it. See, I can't go out there in the world and make everybody out there feel okay about fat.
Right.
I have tried. It's like, to me, the important thing is your health. Are you healthy? If you're fat, who cares? I don't care. I only care is two things, I should say. Are you healthy? What's happening with your health, with the eating, the compulsive eating, and being in the grip of any addiction is a horrible thing. You don't feel like you have any power over yourself or your life. So that's why I said to you, whatever, yes, you can't really reconcile your inside with your outside. What you can do is live from the inside and not pay attention to everybody's judgments into why are you even thinking about what they're thinking? You really need to be looking at, why is that important to you, that they're thinking this or they're thinking that, or, that they see you in a particular way. Just go out there and be yourself. Yeah. But the other thing I did say...
Yeah, and what about the resources?
Is dealing with your addiction. Well, there are some. There's not none. There are some. First of all, you could be in therapy, which I hope you already are, and you're trying to get to what started the pattern of compulsive eating, if you're suffering from that, and try to, I do counseling, many people do counseling. You can find out about me if you go to the innerrevolution.org website and you go to our community, what we do, and under counseling, you'll see something called Private Time with Beth, and you can book a session, but you can get counseling from anybody. I'm not saying you should do it with me. And are you already doing that, and are you dealing with what could be driving this, the addiction part, because food is addictive in it itself. So once you're in the emotional eating, I know for me, I'm not fat, but I have had fat periods, but I know what it's like to eat one chip and never stop, or have a little bit of sugar and it's over. I just can't stop. I know what food addiction is like. It's this never-ending compulsion. I do a lot of anxiety eating. I hate it, and it hurts me. My body doesn't like it. So I always have to look at what is going on with me, about why am I eating compulsively? What is the emotional component, So there is that, and there are organizations. I don't know if you've looked at them, you've tried them, if there are any resources online. There's Food Addicts Recovery Anonymous, I think it's called now.
Well, and there's also Overeaters Anonymous, which you mentioned last time.
Right, but I don't know if Overeaters Anonymous still exists, but it may. I don't really know.
Here's something else I'd like to add.
What?
If you can't find these resources in your area locally, go online.
Yes.
All of these things, all of these support groups are also available online.
Yes.
So you can participate by video conference.
Exactly. You know, there is nothing that is going to substitute for you taking this on. See, nobody is going to change the world for you. Nobody is going to stop other people from having judgments. So what you need to be looking at is, what judgments do you have about you being fat? Where did those judgments come from? How can you work through those judgments? How can you find the help you need to deal with your addictiveness? Even if you don't lose weight, you begin to feel like you have some power in your life, and start thinking about the people around you instead of worrying about what they're thinking about you. You know, it's like, oh, and so is so-and-so having a tough day. You know, they're probably not even sitting there thinking about you. They're probably thinking about themselves, because people are always thinking about themselves, and you think they're thinking about you. I am not kidding. That is the way the world is now. They may have a passing thought. It's like, oh, she's so fat. But I'm going to tell you one more little secret.
Yeah.
If you have a thought about yourself like, oh, I'm fat, everybody's going to think I'm fat, people will pick that up and start thinking, she is fat. The person who isn't thinking they're fat, I would guarantee you, and I'm telling you this because I'm an intuitive and I can feel these things. If I'm looking at somebody and suddenly the thought comes to me, oh my God, they're so fat. Guess what? That's their thought. I know that from experience, from actually counseling. And people who aren't thinking that way, I don't think that. The minute someone's feeling good about themselves, I feel good about them. When they feel lousy about themselves, I've picked that up, and I am going to reflect back to them what they're thinking. So if, for instance, if you think you're weak, everybody around you is going to think you're weak. It's just a weird thing. So I've given you a lot of suggestions. Evidently you don't like them, but this is the best I can do. Good luck.
Well, maybe one of those suggestions will be helpful to you. We hope so.
I hope so, and time is up.
The time is up.
So don't forget to come to Granny's Kitchen, which is 15 minutes after the live show. And the instructions on how to get to Granny's Kitchen are in the same post that also has this is where I send the question to Granny Rocks. And you can also watch the archives of Granny's Kitchen on our YouTube channel, Granny Rocks TV, YouTube. And this video is going to be on Granny Rocks TV on YouTube, and it's going to be on our Granny Rocks Facebook page, and in fact the InnerRevolution.org Facebook page as well. So I hope I have messed with your day.
And I just want to add one more thing. If you do come to Granny's Kitchen, you'll have the chance to interact directly with Granny. Yes. Because she'll be guiding the discussion.
I do guide that. And I'd love that. I love to interact with people. We're having some fabulous people coming on to Granny's Kitchen. So I love that. So come on.
So you can get the support
that you may or may not want. Come on down.
So goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.